Okay, folks, it is 6:30, so I'm going to call this meeting the Champaign County Board to order. Will the clerk please call the roll?
Smith.
Present.
Storr. Present. Straub.
Yes.
Taylor.
Here.
Thorsland.
Here.
Vintage Theornot. Wilson.
Here.
Cohort.
Present.
Esri.
Here.
Farney.
Here.
Furtado. Greer. Hanauer Friedman. Locke.
Here.
Lokshin.
Here.
Michaels.
Present.
Owen.
Here.
Pugh.
Present.
Rodriguez.
Here.
Rogers. Sexton. Carter.
Here.
We have a quorum. For tonight's prayer, let us pause as we gather here today as colleagues and friends with attention to a common continued service to citizens of our county. Through our services and our programs, we seek the patience of each other as we strive to make a difference. Amen. So please rise and join me in this Pledge of Allegiance. Will the clerk please read the notice of the meeting?
Notice is hereby given that a regular meeting of the County Board, Champaign County, Illinois, will convene on November 21st, 2024, 6:30 p.m. in the Shields Carter Meeting Room, Brookings Administrative Center, 1776 East Washington Street, Urbana, Illinois, in said county for the purpose of allowing and ordering payments of claims against the county, receiving and acting upon reports of committees, and such other matters as may be brought before said meeting, which said meeting shall continue in session from day to day until the completion of said business.
Thank you. Approval of the agenda. Can I get a motion to approve the agenda? Motion by motion by Straub, second by Locke. Yes, Member Owen.
I'd like to make a friendly amendment to amend the agenda, moving 16A, which is the ARPA report, to 10B, which is after the communication. And then also moving 15F, which is the official naming of the Paul Lawrence Pope facility, to 7B, which is after the employee recognition. I believe we have some members of the Pope family here. And then 16G, which is on your yellow agenda there, which is closed session, asking to move that to 11B after the YMCA presentation, so that we do not have to keep the people who are presenting at that all the way to the end.
Do you have a second? JJ has a second. All right, all in favor of, I'm sorry. Yes, JJ, you have another?
I'd like to, if Mr. Owen will accept this to be added to his items there, I'd like to also further move that item 14A2, adoption of the annual budget, be removed from the agenda for tonight.
Second.
All right, is that you, Mr. Owen, do you accept that as a friendly?
I do.
All right, second. All right, all in favor of the amended agenda, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion passes. Thank you. Okay. The date and time of the regular scheduled meetings are listed on the agenda. Can I get a motion to approve the adoption of resolution number 2024-288, honoring election judges for distinguished service? Motion by Lokshin, second by Smith. Any discussion? Chair Storrs, Policy Chair, would you please read the resolution?
Yes, I'd very much like to. Thank you. Resolution honoring election judges for distinguished service. Whereas election judges in Champaign County help make elections fair, free, and accessible. Whereas election judges are on the front lines helping to ensure and safeguard democracy. And whereas on October 26, 2024, when physical violence happened at a polling location during the 2024 general election, and whereas 3 election judges continued to serve and make sure the voters could safely vote despite being afraid for their own personal safety, now, therefore, be it resolved that the Champaign County Board formally recognizes the following election judges for their bravery and service to the people of Champaign County. And if you're present, please rise. Donna Epps, Gary Gilham, Karen Miller. Presented, adopted, and approved and recorded this 21st day of November, 2024.
Before I get a motion and a second on this, Clerk Ammons would like to speak as well. Excuse me. It's been a long day.
Let's see. Good evening, hello, and good evening, Board, Madam Chair, Executive Summers. For the public, I am Aaron Ammons, Champaign County Clerk and Recorder. So my comments were prepared before all of that, so it might be a little redundant. I have spoken ad nauseum about the importance of election judges. I have informed the public, party officials, and other elected officials that there can be no elections without election judges, period. So I offer my sincere appreciation for all election judges who stepped up to the plate and served our community yet again, or for the first time. You are appreciated. Tonight, there's a resolution before you honoring 3 election judges in particular who worked at the Meadowbrook Church polling location during early voting of the 2024 general election. On Sunday, October 26, 2024, these 3 election judges carried out their duties professionally and with distinction when a voter came into the polling location and disrupted the voting process. These judges gave precise and lawful directives to a voter who refused to comply with their orders. When the voter was informed that he could not videotape inside the polling location without the permission of the county clerk and that he could not wear his hat promoting a candidate inside the polling location, the voter refused to stop videotaping and refused to remove his hat. When one of the judges attempted to block the view of the camera phone, that judge was physically assaulted. After such an incident in today's political climate, everyone would have understood if these 3 judges called it a day. To the contrary, all 3 of them decided to stand their ground and finished their shifts. Their service was distinguished and above and beyond the call of duty. And you all have already joined me in personally giving them a heartfelt thank you and a round of applause, Karen, Donna, and Gary, for their important and exemplary service. I also want to take an opportunity to thank Chief Timothy Tyler of the Champaign Police Department and State's Attorney Julia Reitz. After further investigation into this matter by the Champaign Police Department, State's Attorney Julia Reitz charged the individual in question, and he is now going through the legal process. I further want to thank State's Attorney Reitz and County Board Chair Samantha Carter for standing with me during the press conference and sending the strong message that violence in our polling locations will not be tolerated. Executive Summers couldn't make the press conference, but he sent out a call to the board members, and several of you attended the press conference, and your presence was appreciated. So let me conclude by thanking the County Executive's Office and the County Board for making room during this meeting to allow us to honor the important work of these 3 distinguished election judges in particular, and we would like to present them with their plaques. If they don't have, Katie has already presented them with their plaques. Yes, indeed. So one more time, y'all.
I want to take just a moment to thank Clerk Ammons for his actions in making sure that the county did everything that they needed to do to make sure that our clerks were safe and felt protected. Thank you. All right, as I have already received the motion and the second, would all in favor please signify by saying aye?
Aye.
Opposed, same sign, motion carries. Thank you so much for your service. Okay, since the agenda has been modified, now can I get a motion to approve the adoption of Resolution 2024-293, naming the Champaign County Adult Detention Center in honor of Paul Lawrence Pope? JJ, second by Eric. Are members of Mr. Pope's family here tonight? Thank you very much for attending. Would you like to say a few words? It's entirely up to you.
Yes. I'm here, is that okay? Can everybody hear me? Or do you need to go there? Oh, wonderful.
Yep.
Good evening. I would just like to say is that I'm just overwhelmed by being here, not because I taught first grade for 28 years and was married to a deputy sheriff. He might have had guns, but I had a finger in his face. I just wanted you all to know, I looked at Aaron's over there and I see and hear from his wonderful wife all the time. I'm just happy to really see him. I feel like I'm full of movie stars. So I just want to say something because I'll shut up because I sent my daughter to the University of Chicago, costs more than my house. I don't want you to know that I'm not here being nosy. I'm here because I want to say it is well with my soul. And I said that because Lieutenant Paul Lawrence Pope said that all the time. It is well with my soul. Jesus bless all of you. Thank you.
And I just want to say, thanks for the resolution. And I just told my nephew, Draven Deanley Pope, I said, well, Poops, Daddy's been gone 28 years, and the jail's been named 28 years. In about 2 years, it'll be 30. So I'll have you come back. And then I blinked, and then this came up. So I told him about it, and he's aware. And I said, you make sure, I don't care if you're in Siberia, that's your grandfather. That's not your great-grandfather, because he's just 21. And my father's birthday is next Saturday. So this is really, it just sunk in driving here. I'm like, Daddy would have been 88 next Saturday. So this is wonderful. It's perfect timing. Thank you very much.
We are planning on having some kind of a ceremony probably in December at the sign. So I will try and keep you looped in on that as well.
Thank you so much.
All right. Resolution number 2024. Yes, go ahead. Yes, go ahead.
Just wondering, should one of us read the resolution in to the minutes?
I was getting ready to do that, but
Oh,
Aaron,
you were good too.
I think,
That's
Aaron,
great.
no,
Okay.
I think I will take you as no, I've got you as a volunteer. You've already got your mic on.
That's
So
fine.
you're good.
I can do that.
It's on page 93.
I've got it.
I'm not trying to.
Okay, I'm sorry for
good.
trying to jump the gun there a little bit. Resolution naming the Champaign County Adult Detention Center in honor of Paul Lawrence Pope. Whereas Paul Lawrence Pope served the people of Champaign County from 1968 to June 22nd, 1996, and whereas during his employment with the Champaign County Sheriff's Office, he served as a deputy sheriff, sergeant, investigator, and lieutenant, working in court security, adult detention, juvenile detention, and the patrol divisions. And whereas Paul Lawrence Pope was a lifetime resident of Champaign County, a veteran of the United States Army, a graduate of Parkland College and the University of Illinois Police Training Institute, a member of the Fraternal Order of Police, and whereas Paul Lawrence Pope was a member of Bethel AME Church, where he served as a steward and trustee and as a foster parent for the Illinois Department of Children and Family Services. And whereas the County Board of Champaign County seeks to permanently and publicly recognize that Paul Lawrence Pope brought respect, honor, and integrity to the residents of Champaign County through his years of service. Now, therefore be it resolved, the Champaign County Adult Detention Center at 502 South Learman Avenue in the city of Urbana will be named the Paul Lawrence Pope Adult Detention Center. Presented, adopted, approved, and recorded this day, 21st November, AD 2024.
All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion passes. Thank you for coming. All right, we've now come to public participation. I do not have any slips in front of me. If there's anyone that would like to address the board, slips are at the small table over there by the double door entrance. And I'm not seeing anyone, so accordingly, we will close public participation. All right, can I get a motion to approve the consent agenda? All right, Smith, seconded by Esri. Will the clerk please call the roll?
Smith,
Yes.
Storr,
Yes.
Straub,
Yes.
Taylor,
Yes.
Yes.
Wilson,
Yes.
Cowart,
Yes.
Esri,
Yes.
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 Locke,
Yes.
Lockshin,
Yes.
Michaels,
Yes.
Owen,
Yes.
Pugh,
Yes.
Rodriguez,
Yes.
Rogers,
Yes.
Sexton,
Yes.
Carter.
Yes.
Motion passes. Communications. Members of the board have communications that they'd like to share. Jeff Wilson.
Thank you. I have two, actually. One is Township Republican Democrat Caucus coming up. That's for those that, we probably all know that around here, but maybe people watching or in the audience may not know. Great time to voice your choice at the caucus. So what happens at a township caucus? There's about, 27, 28, 29 caucuses here in Champaign County. Most of them, townships, most of them are caucus, except for the city of Champaign, which is not. They will have a primary. But on the 3rd, which is a Monday, second, which is a Monday, and the 3rd, which is a Tuesday, just depends on when your caucus is, that's an opportunity to choose a superintendent, supervisor for your township, or a clerk, or a road commissioner, or your trustees. So please go out and vote and make your choice known for your local leadership in your township. That's number one. And then number two, I want to express my profound appreciation for the county board members that help support the ARPA funding for the Stop the Violence for our veterans here in Champaign County. So we've had our final meeting, which was on the 1st, was it the 1st of November? I think it was the 1st of November, and both Carol Emmons and Aaron Emmons were there. Also, the Champaign County Chief of Police was there, was attended by all. It was actually a very good seminar on how to support our veterans, their families, and their neighbors when veterans or their families are experiencing their response or their triggers to trauma. So I just want to thank you, county board members, for supporting that program. Thank you very much.
Diane.
I'll make it quick. I just wanted to say thank you. It has been an honor serving on the board. There have been a lot of people come and go on this board, but everybody brings their own talents and their own desires to help their own community as well as the county of Champaign as a whole. I look forward to this board doing that. And I will say, don't forget the north half of the county, because that's just what I do. But I just really wanted to say thank you to all of you. And before I lose it here, It really has been a pleasure serving on all of the different committees and helping our community grow and get better.
Thank you. Anyone else? Jen Straub.
I want to echo what Diane said. I have not been here nearly as long, but I feel like I'm leaving a board that is far more functional than when I started. I feel like we are all looking the same way and trying to do our best to help as many people as we can in our county. So I look forward to watching what happens and the great work that you all do in the future with our new board members as well, and under great leadership of County Executive Summers and his amazing staff. I'm really proud of the things that we've been able to accomplish together, and just really, really grateful for all of the patience that everyone has had with me and the faith that my constituents have put into me, and my family for putting up with me being here instead of at all the practices and events that I have missed over the last 4 years.
Jen Locke.
You're not allowed to leave. Earlier this week, I had the pleasure of attending the drug court graduation, and I encourage everyone in this room, if you ever get a chance, please go. Dr. Stewart and Executive Summers were there as well. The 4 graduates this year have overcome so many obstacles, and they have bright futures ahead of them. I can't say enough about the good that drug court does in the lives of these people and their families. So it was a bright spot. In bad weeks and bad times, that was a very bright spot. And if you ever get a chance, go. You're going to feel so good when you leave.
Eric.
I just want to say on behalf of the person voted least likely to toot their own horn in high school, Leah Taylor, thank you for the 4 years or more, 6 years on the board. It was such a pleasure. It went that fast in my mind. Being our caucus chair, doing a wonderful job. And even when the cat's rear end appeared on all our Zoom meetings, we were all massively entertained. And I thank you for all the moments, Leah, and thank you for your service.
Dr. Storr.
I'd like to amplify a little bit of what Jen Straub said about Jen Locke said about drug court. And a particular thing that struck me was the number of agencies, people that the graduates recognized. The officers, the corrections people, the probation people, the judges, the mental health and all the other. I mean, it was literally filled the room. It was a community effort to help these folks achieve sobriety and hopefully turn their life around.
Anyone else? Jenny.
Well, if they're not going to do it, I would jump in and say thank you, Dr. Owen, and thank you, Mike Smith, for your jumping in at a time of need to the county board and making sure that we were fully seated and we have varying opinions and perspectives to keep us informed at all times. And especially thank you, Mike, for your time on the facilities committee. Your expertise in a vast amount of areas has been really helpful, and we will miss that.
Don.
Thank you. I just wanted to say thank you to everyone sitting around this table, as well as to everyone who works in this building. I did come in at kind of an interesting time, and I did what I usually do, which is speak my mind and sometimes take controversial issues that I believe in, and probably made a lot of people not like me very much, but you did a good job of liking me anyway. And I really appreciate that. I felt welcomed here, even when I disagreed with people strongly. And I'm grateful for the time. I'm I'm not going to say that I'm sad to leave, but my life is taking me in other directions right now. I'm not leaving the community, and I will definitely be here as a resource to any of you, and I'll definitely be continuing to show up when needed. And so, again, I wish I could say this to each and every one of you, but thank you. I really did enjoy the 10 months that I was sitting here in this seat. So thank you very much.
Anyone else? Okay, not seeing anyone, we will move on since the agenda was amended. Kathy, you are up with ARPA.
Good evening. Thank you for moving the topic up on the agenda. We included the monthly update in your packets, and one of the main things we're working on right now is to extend some contracts into 2025 and 2026, and so we're currently working on that, which there are some IGAs tonight on the agenda for that purpose. The Department of Treasury requires that we commit and we obligate all funds by the end of this year, but that we can spend into the next 2 years through the end of 2026. And so we are currently trying to amend any of the contracts that they're moving along, but they're just not there yet. And some contracts were already made so that they went beyond 2024 anyway. But the ones that aren't, if they need some more time, we've been trying to extend those. So I'd be happy to answer specific questions if I can.
Any hands, folks? Anybody have questions? Mike?
I just got a couple. Just a refresher, I think you've answered some of these before. But like the Housing Authority of Champaign County, are they planning on moving forward?
They are, and they have some invoices. We just need more documentation from them to submit payments. So they are moving it forward, yes.
Okay, and then the other one was the EDC low hurdle program for the small business to help them out. Are they moving forward?
So I asked for an update last week and I haven't heard anything back. They technically by contract have through 2025 to use the funds. So it does not expire at the end of this year, but I did ask for an update.
Okay, thanks, Kathy.
Samantha?
Ms. Larson, if you would share that update when you get it, we'll greatly appreciate it, me and Dr. Storr. Thank you.
Mr. Wilson?
Thanks. Thanks, Kathy, for being here. Quick question. On tonight's business, there's 4 items for extension to go to the out year, 26, I suppose. Maybe it'll go just 25, some 26. So besides those 4, are we going to see a couple more resolutions to extend some of these agreements beyond the end of this year? Or is it handled in a different way?
So IGAs would come to the county board. So any
Okay.
IGA amendments, there may be a couple more in December depending on what the status is. We're still trying to confirm some status. For contracts with nonprofit agencies, we're able to internally amend those. And so they would not come to the county board. It'd be the same terms that they have originally, just maybe a timeline extension if needed.
Okay, so only, just to repeat, only for IGAs, intergovernmental agreements, for those who don't know what an IGA is, but, so only for those, we need county board approval, and then for the other items, will you let us know which ones are extended at the next meeting in end of December, or will we know this in January, or what do you think your update will be there?
So all of the different contracts have varying end dates, and they
Yeah.
currently do already. So some already have
okay.
been into 25 or 26, and we don't need to extend them. If there's specific ones you'd like to know, we can, send you that list or, add it to the update in the packet. But yeah, the IGAs are the only ones that would come back here unless one of the contracts would drastically change their purpose for some reason and need to come back here. But yeah, so it varies.
All right, thank you.
Ms. Carter?
Any updates with the RPC sleep program?
I don't have a current update. I know they were still looking at the staff and the equipment and the marketing, but I can ask Lisa again for another update. Yeah.
Thank you.
Anyone else before we let Kathy go home? Kathy, you can go home now. Thank you very much for coming. Appreciate it. All right. Next up, we have a presentation from the New American Welcome Center of the University YMCA. Please come forward. And welcome. Can you get the mic? Thank you.
Hey, well, good evening, everyone. Thank you so much for having me. So I'm going to talk about how we're going to work with this computer. How the Immigrant Cooperative were able to leverage ARPA funding for immigrant justice and immigrant equity. This has been a 3-year grant. And we have been able to focus on mental health and language access. So I'm providing a very brief and compact overview, but what you have in front of you is a more in-depth overview with some metrics and some details, as well as some pages from our demographic report. So my name is Akuya Forku-Sectre. I'm the director of the New American Welcome Center, and I am just one small part of the Immigrant Cooperative. We are a cooperative of immigrant service agencies that provide social services to the immigrant community here in Champaign County. So again, I'm just going to give a general overview about our project. We focused on language access and mental health access. And then I'll talk a little bit about future needs and recommendations. And then as I understand it, we have a little bit of time for questions and answers. And some of my colleagues are also here as well. So I'm just going to keep on going? Okay, all right. So the Immigrant Cooperative is comprised of several agencies, the Immigration Project, Pishon-Kenobe, the Refugee Center, Champaign-Urbana Immigration Forum, Immigrant Services of Champaign-Urbana, and the New American Welcome Center. And with the proposal that we were able to provide Champaign County a few years ago, we wanted to focus on improving equity outcomes for low-income immigrants and thinking about all of the layers that low-income immigrants have to face and thinking about when they arrive to a new community and have to integrate. I'm thinking about how to access social services. A lot of those barriers were exacerbated by COVID. So if you bring in the additional layers that COVID brought, what we were dealing with was a significant need for mental health services and language access services. So, for example, thinking about the trauma that someone experienced as they were immigrating into a new community, or the trouble of accessing social services because they are not accessible in the preferred language. So our project was supported, thank you, supported by our agency staff who were able to come together to coordinate, to develop new programming, and also administer the grant internally. So in thinking about the number of immigrants in Champaign County, in 2016, a demographic report was conducted to understand what is the landscape of immigrants in our community. And what we discovered was that over 25,000 individuals identify as immigrants, which was 12.3% of the total population. That is a significant number of the population, and what we know is that that number is lower than what was reality, because we know that 1 in 4 folks who identify as immigrants are undocumented, and undocumented folks may not partake in surveys or data collection of this sort. And then when you fast forward to 2024, there has been a number of various migration, immigration patterns. So we know that number is much bigger. We hope to be able to use census data to understand how big the number is. But the point of this is to show that immigrants make up a huge majority, or a huge percentage of our population. And thinking about the economic contributions they make in terms of taxes, locally, statewide, and federally, and thinking about how they play a significant role in our community as well. When there's a significant amount of the population experiencing needs, it's important to think through solutions to address those needs. So we had 2 parts of this project, mental health and language access. So I'm going to give, again, a very quick overview. I'm telling myself that, so I stick to the time. But again, you have in front of you some more details about the project. So in the mental health part, we are 2 overarching goals was to provide mental health services to immigrants facing trauma and to reduce barriers to culturally and linguistically appropriate mental health care. So what this looks like is taking therapeutic modalities and tailoring them and adapting them to what immigrants are specifically facing. When we're thinking about culturally sensitive, culturally appropriate, it's important for mental health providers to be able to meet the clients where they are. And so here are 2 examples of what this has looked like. So in the first example, there's someone who was diagnosed with anxiety, signs of depression because of loss of professional status and cultural identity. Working with them through some specific modalities led to the client is now in a comfortable work environment, has a supportive social community here in town, has achieved mental health stability. Another example that's detailed here is someone who has experienced domestic violence and abuse and is a mother of children and is raising her family in a very unfamiliar environment. That outcome led to this person being removed from the abuse perpetrator, found stable housing, and has been able to achieve emotional stability for herself and for her children. And so in thinking about how we were able to think through barriers and identify some solutions, the impact is real people with real families. And so being able to help a number of individuals access the support is pretty crucial, considering all that immigrants in this specific population are dealing with. So to reiterate some of the barriers, we know that there are cultural stigmas around seeking mental health care, but there's also some systemic barriers as well. We have a lack of bilingual providers in our community, and it's very difficult to employ a licensed professional on staff for a number of reasons. And so that required to think of very creative solutions, including upskilling existing staff, thinking about how to approach outreach a bit differently, and then hiring or contracting with short-term providers and telehealth providers as well. So this is an example of creative outreach that was done. So there were 10 resource sessions that were conducted in folks' preferred languages. So in thinking about the current resources that exist, do people even know about them? Do they understand them? Do they know how to access them? And being able to bring individuals together to talk through those resources was a creative approach, and we were able to distribute over 1,000 flyers that shared resources. The second part of the project is language access, and the goals around language access was to develop an indigenous Mayan Kanhobal language training cohort, build capacity in legal, medical, and community interpretation, and provide recommendations for a countywide language access plan. So we have a growing local Mayan Kanhobal community in town. Folks who have arrived speak their maternal language, and they may learn Spanish as they transit to the United States. What we know is that a lot of these families who speak Kanhobal are sometimes assumed to speak Spanish, but when they access social services or when their families attend school meetings, we realize that they prefer Kanhobal. And so this has shed light into barriers of inclusion, which include absence of indigenous interpreters at the local and national level. There's a misunderstanding about indigenous nations and their languages, and this leads to invisibility of those communities. There's also the lack of understanding of this community's specific needs as well. And again, this is a significant portion of our population. So the main drivers of the language access part of the grant is Pishan Kano. Their work is detailed in the paper that is in front of you, but they trained a number of individuals and have retained 5 trained interpreters. They went through rigorous high-level training and went through over 800 hours of training. This has led to new pathways of employment. These individuals are able to receive income by being interpreters. This grant came at a very crucial time. The needs were existing, the needs were there, but of course, as we know, migration patterns change and things may happen throughout the years. And so when we received this grant, the Refugee Center supported a number of individuals from Afghanistan. When the United States pulled out of Afghanistan, the Refugee Center supported a number of individuals who spoke Pashto and Dari, and they were able to use funding from this grant to be able to hire interpreters, to be able to provide social services. And so being able to utilize this funding to support the impact of what was happening was very important. We've been able to collaborate across our organizations. We know that we cannot do this work alone, so being able to collaborate together has made this work possible, and we're also very thankful to the Champaign County Board for allowing us to have this funding. There's been a lot of successes with the grant, but that's still there's been a lot of successes with the grant, but there's also still some significant need when it comes to mental health and language access. What we know is that there is a big need around interpretation services in our community. Having trained interpreters is best practice and not necessarily utilizing volunteers or family members or relying on immigrant service agencies who don't necessarily have the capacity. And so being able to understand exactly who needs interpretation, we still reiterate that we need a community-wide language access plan, and it starts with understanding what are the languages that are currently spoken and in need of interpretation. In conclusion, we still have a lot of needs around language access and mental health. For example, there may be an increase of local providers, but that doesn't necessarily mean it comes with language access. We also have some emerging needs. There's been a number of new arrivals who have settled into our community who need a lot of support. This includes housing, this includes basic needs, and they are, and also have experienced some significant trauma as well. So we know that there's a lot of complex needs there. And then we have a new presidential administration starting in January, and we know that some proposed policies are going to impact the clients that we serve. And in thinking about how these changes, how these policies are going to change, we don't necessarily know exactly how, but we can predict that there are also going to be some complexities around support for those families as well. Right. So thank you for letting me share a bit about what we're doing in a very compact way. The contact information for all of our agencies are on the pieces of paper that are in front of you. Do we still have time for a few minutes of questions?
We can probably do a few questions that we need to move on to our closed session fairly quickly. But a
Okay.
few questions. Go ahead. Brett.
Thank you. Just a quick question. I know there's a growing Kazakh population in this town. I just wonder what you've seen at your agency from them.
Sure. Would anyone like to? Yeah,
Do
you
you
can
need to come up to the
Sure,
mic if
sure.
we're going to?
Sorry, I have my
Q&A.
colleagues here too.
I'm Lisa Wilson. I'm the Executive Director of the Refugee Center. Thanks for having us here this evening. We've seen a few Kazakh clients come, not in great numbers, but a lot of that might have to do with outreach to that community, and that, of course, we would need some translation assistance to get to that community. And whether or not we can help them also depends on whether they're ORR eligible, Office of Refugee Resettlement eligible or not. So there are a lot of factors that go into how people find us. I don't know if you've seen a lot of, okay, you haven't?
I'm just here in case there's other questions.
Okay.
Go ahead, Jamala.
Hello. Hi. Thank you for being here. How does someone get interpreter services if they need someone to go with them to like the doctor or school or employment or?
Well, the doctor, all of the healthcare agencies have their own interpreters. In fact, they even when our staff will accompany somebody to the doctor just to get them there and to make them feel comfortable beforehand and afterwards, they're not usually allowed in the patient exam room. So places like Carl and OSF, they have their own in-person interpreters, and then for languages that they don't serve as much, they have a video service. But we do a lot of translation and interpretation for our clients, either in our office. Occasionally, if they ask us to come, for example, to a school, we will go and talk to that teacher or try and communicate, make that communication happen. What we really can't do without getting funding from the school is we can't do like a blanket come-to-parent-teacher conference. That's something that we then need compensation for because we don't have the capacity or the funding to be an interpretation service for a public school.
Emily.
Thanks. I have a question and a comment related to some of the committee work that I do. The first, I see that CU offers services regarding housing. Can you talk a little bit about those needs, especially about housing instability and security, so working with landlords, et cetera? What kind of services do you find are most needed related to housing?
Is anyone here from ISCU right now?
No one is here from ISCU, no.
That's totally okay. If you can speak broadly or even just say,
Yeah.
we'll contact later.
The Refugee Center, because we are also a refugee resettlement agency, that means we're receiving a portion of the presidential determination of refugees in this area. As part of refugee resettlement package or services, we have to find them housing before they arrive. So we have, fortunately, we have some relationships with area landlords. We established a really solid relationship with one landlord during the Afghan evacuation. We received over 100 Afghan evacuees in this community in that first initial several month period right after the evacuation. We continue to receive Afghan. Now they're refugees instead of humanitarian parolees. So we now have a housing specialist, which has been a huge advantage because it takes a lot of work to communicate with landlords, try to, this particular immigration status, they are here legally, they have work authorization. We also have an employment program that gets them into jobs. So our housing specialist is now going to other landlords and explaining these benefits and how even though these people come in without any credit history, they're coming in internationally, they don't have a job, they don't have credit history, they come with a stipend, a small stipend to pay for essential services, and then we use our resources to try and bolster that as much as we can. So we're trying to make the case that these are people, that this is not a risk that the landlord is taking. These are people that can be gainfully employed. We try, if people need ESL, ELL, we sign them up for that. So there's a 90-day reception and placement program, and then there's an employment and case management program that can help them after those first 90 days of resettlement. So it can be difficult to find. Housing all over the country is really in short supply. But yeah, we're always looking for those landlords who understand that even though somebody is coming in without employment this moment and without a credit history, that they'll give them a chance.
Thank you, that's really helpful. I'll definitely follow up on that. One more, I guess, just broad comment. I know Jen Locke and I both serve on the opioid settlement task force. We have a lot of money coming through, so we are willing and able to address in any issues that touch on that issue. And we've heard from CU at Home, for example, on issues that have to do with housing stability, et cetera. So if you see any relation to that, we'd be really happy to hear from you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. If people have Jeff, I do want to cut things off now. If you could refer to their contacts list. They've got a great contacts list if we have additional questions, but I do want to move to the closed session. Thank you very much for coming.
Thank you
Appreciate
all.
it.
Thank you.
All right. Ms. Locke, would you please read the motion for closed session?
I move that we enter into executive session pursuant to 5 ILCS 120/2C2 to consider collective negotiation or negotiating matters between Champaign County and its employees or their representatives, or deliberations concerning salary schedules for one or more classes of employees. I further move that the following individuals remain present: Assistant State's Attorney Joel Fletcher, Director of Administration Michelle Jett, Budget Director Travis Woodcock, and Recording Clerk Angela Patton.
Hold on, that was the wrong motion. That's about collective bargaining. That's not what this is.
This
read
is
what was
pending
left for me.
litigation. This is pending litigation.
That said collective bargaining.
Oh.
This is collective negotiating matters. Thank you. I read what's in front of me, but yes, instead of collective negotiation matters, pending litigation on or against or affecting Champaign County. Thank you.
All right. Got the motion from JJ, second from Aaron.
Didn't know if our state's attorney herself was, since she's here, if she was going to attend, if it needed to be amended to add her, if she wanted to attend closed session. Okay.
And also State's Attorney Julia Reed.
All right, that's friendly. So we will now, will the clerk please call the roll? We have a motion and a second.
Smith.
Well, let's go ahead and call the roll, then we'll move.
Smith.
Yes.
Storr.
Yes.
Straub.
Yes.
Taylor. Thorsland.
Yes.
Wilson.
Yes.
Cowart.
Yes.
Esri.
Yes.
Farney.
Yes.
Greer.
Yes.
Locke.
Yes.
Lockshin.
Yes.
Michaels.
Yes.
Owen.
Yes.
Pugh.
Yes.
Rodriguez.
Yes.
Rogers.
Yes.
Sexton. Carter.
Yes.
Motion passes. Let's all recess to Putnam, please.
We can't turn the light feed off, so.
Didn't have any public participation.
All right, would the clerk please call the roll again?
Smith. Smith. Smith?
Here.
Oh, okay. Storr?
Present.
Straub?
Yes.
Taylor? Thorsland?
Here.
Wilson?
Here.
Goert?
Present.
Esri?
Here.
Farney?
Here.
Greer?
Here.
Locke?
Here.
Lockshin?
Here.
Michaels? Owen? Pugh?
Present.
Rodriguez?
Here.
Rogers?
Present.
Sexton? Carter?
Here.
We have a quorum. All right, next item is approval of the minutes. If there's no objection, can I get an omnibus motion to approve the minutes for October 24th, 2024, Truth and Taxation hearing, and October 24th, 2024, regular meeting? Motion by Locke, second by Thorsland. Any discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Summary of actions taken. County Facilities Summary of Action on November 6th meeting. Environmental and Land Use meeting, November 7th meeting. And the Highway and Transportation meeting on November 8th are received and placed on file. Areas of responsibility, summary actions taken November 12th at the Committee of the Whole meeting, received and placed on file. To Finance, will the Finance Vice Chair make the committee's recommendation for item number 1?
Thank you, Mr. Executive. I move adoption of ordinance number 2024-14, fiscal year 2025 annual tax levy ordinance for Champaign County, Illinois. I'd also like to remind everyone that we need a roll call vote on this.
Second by Ms. Taylor. No discussion? Any discussion? All right, roll call, please.
Smith?
Yes.
Storr?
Yes.
Straub?
Yes.
Taylor?
Yes.
Thorsland?
Yes.
Fenich Theriot? Wilson?
Yes.
Goert?
Yes.
Esri?
Yes.
Farney?
Yes.
Greer?
Yes.
Locke?
Yes.
Lockshin?
Yes.
Michaels? Owen?
Yes.
Pugh?
Yes.
Rodriguez?
Yes.
Rogers?
Yes.
Sexton? Carter?
Yes.
Motion passes. All right, can I get a motion to approve the release of RFP 2024-006, Prosecutor Defender Case Management Software for the County of Champaign? Moved by Locke, second by, well, you're going to be leaving, so second by Jenny Straub. Is there any discussion? Okay, please note the most up-to-date version is in your packet. Is there discussion? Dr. Storr?
I noticed the state's attorney's in attendance if she would care to speak to the motion. Or the public defender.
If you have questions, if not, are there questions? I don't see any questions. All right.
Wait a minute, I'll ask a question. I'll prolong this. Would the defender and the state's attorney please tell us all of the wonderful benefits we will derive from this?
So right now, under the current JANO system, we are unable to run any reports or create any statistics for the community or you all. We can't tell you how many cases we have that are open without hand counting. We can't tell you how many types of cases there are. We can't tell you anything. So we basically keep track of our own caseloads on spreadsheets. And this will allow our offices to communicate with one another, to exchange discovery documents in a really kind of streamlined manner. And it will undoubtedly be cheaper than replacing the entire JANO system, which is what we're looking to save you all some money. And I think that this will also create additional data that will be beneficial for the public and for you.
What she said. And I will take the opportunity to thank my operations manager, Bud Windleborn, who drafted this RFP and did a lot of the work behind it. This is the beginning of the process of modernizing our case management systems so that they can speak to each other, work together, share information better, stronger, faster, and also allow us, again, as Liz said, to provide information to the public about what is happening in the criminal justice system. And I just want to say that I feel like we're on the press tour for The Wiz, and I'm Ariana Grande.
All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign, motion carries. Thank you.
Does that make me the big bad wolf?
Can I get a motion to approve the adoption of resolution number 2024-289, authorizing payment of claims? Moved by Smith, second by Ed. Any discussion? All in favor, please signify by saying, oh,
Wait a
you have a
second.
question. Jeff?
Here's my, I think it's a pet peeve. It's now becoming a pet peeve. Why are we considering something that's already paid? And why are we considering something that we just really have no purview over since it belongs under an elected official's efforts? Why does it even show up at the county board?
I've been told from our folks at RPC, if there's anything involving RPC, this is a box that needs to be checked in order for them to submit for their grant funding.
Doesn't it seem odd to approve something that's already been paid?
The federal government does many odd things.
Well, we're not the federal government, so
These are the grants are through the federal government.
So I'm approving something that's already paid. So that someone obviously already exercised that judgment to approve it.
I can refer you to RPC if you would like to hear their rationale
No,
for
I
it,
want to
but
understand your reasoning. So just tell me it's already approved. Why would I approve something that's already approved? It's already paid. That's my comment. Does that maybe it doesn't make sense to anybody, but at least to me, I can't understand agreeing to something where someone already exercised that judgment for me by paying it. Does that make any sense at all?
all I can go by is what regional planning has said they need in terms of getting final approval for some of their grant funding. I don't make the rules the federal government puts in place.
RPC is not the only one on here.
They are not the only one on here. That is true.
So answer the other one then.
Are you suggesting that we disaggregate payments of claims? I mean,
I'm just asking we do the right thing. That's what I'm asking for.
Well, unfortunately, we still have Julia here. You could call her here to ask it, or you could prefer that to her privately and let her comment on it then. I think that might be the appropriate way to deal with this. JJ, go ahead.
I guess mine's more of a question than Mr. Wilson, is if we don't do this process that's already established, are you suggesting then that the board needs to approve the bills before any checks go out?
No, I'm not, but it's already paid. That's my
No,
question.
that's not what I'm asking you, though. I'm asking you if you're wanting to change the process, because the way I look at it, the only way that we wouldn't do it this way is to change the entire process. And the only way to change that process would be to say, all right, bring the bills to us first, and then the checks go out after the board has paid them. That's where I'm losing you in that.
Thank you for that. So do you mind if I respond to that?
Yeah, please. Okay. I'd love to.
So when I read the purchasing policy, if there's something contrary to the process, then the auditor talks to the treasurer, and the treasurer talks to the auditor, and then eventually it goes to somebody else, and then eventually it comes to the county board. But you've explained to me in the past that this doesn't follow that policy because it's more related to an elected official. So no, I'm not asking for a change of policy. I'm asking for maybe more guidance in the policy.
Are you talking about the payments not following purchasing policy or the actual payment of claims then?
I'm talking about payments not following purchasing policy.
That's not what we're voting on right now, and that's why we're all confused.
Well, thank you. Maybe I'm doubly confused.
I would agree with you on the payments not following purchasing policy. I don't know why we do that anymore.
All right.
But we're not voting on that right now.
All in favor of adoption of the resolution authorizing payment of claims?
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Now, can I get a motion to approve the adoption of Resolution 2024-290, approving purchases not following purchase policy? Ms. Lokshin? Ms. Straub? Is there discussion?
Let's refer to my previous discussion comment.
Duly noted. All right, all in favor, signify by saying, oh, I'm sorry, I did not see you. Go ahead, Ms. Carter.
So is this pertaining to the advertisement flyers? Is that which one we're on now? So I just want to echo County Board Member Wilson's concern. I got so many questions behind this. I researched this company, and it's not even local. And we're always talking about support local small businesses. So I was kind of thrown off that the company was in Chicago. And the amount that was spent is ridiculous. So I think I don't know if we changed the policy or the way that we do this, but it just does not make any sense that we don't know about it. We didn't know about it, and then now that it's here, after it's been paid, we vote. So I definitely agree with County Board Member Wilson that it does not make sense in the way that they're doing it. We just should have had approval before. It should have came through the board with that amount.
I believe that was approved as part of the budget for 2024. All right, any further discussion? If not, all in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Okay, motion carries. Sorry. Can I get an omnibus motion to approve adoption of resolutions 2024-291, approving amendment to contract with Brewer and Russo Builders for County Plaza renovation project, and adoption of resolution number 2024-292, approving amendments to contract with PJ Hare for the county jail consolidation project? Motion by Locke, second by, sorry. Motion by Locke Shin. Second by Esri. Any discussion? All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. All right, next item is from the addendum, the yellow packet. Can I get a motion to approve the release of RFP 2024-007 on-site solar PV system service? This is for highway. This is the solar project for highway. Mr. Smith. First by Smith, second by Chair Carter. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. All right, moving on to, this would be other business. Adoption of Resolution 2024-294, authorizing an amendment to an intergovernmental agreement with the Village of Ludlow. Can I get a motion? Motion by Michael. Sorry, Jen. That's okay. Second by Esri. All right. Second by decisions. Second by Taylor. All right. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Adoption of Resolution 2024-295, authorizing an amendment to an intergovernmental agreement with the Board of Trustees of the University of Illinois Prairie Research Institute. And I have a motion by Storr, second by Smith. Any discussion? All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. All right, adoption of Resolution 2024-296, authorizing an amendment to an intergovernmental agreement with the Sangamon Valley Water District. First by Thorsland, second by Jamala. Any discussion? All in favor? Aye. All opposed? Motion passes. Adoption of Resolution 2024-297, authorizing an amendment to an intergovernmental agreement with Cunningham Township. Motion by Owen, second by Smith. All right. Any discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. All right. Now to the more fun stuff. Can I get a motion to approve adoption of Resolution 2024-298, honoring retiring County Board Member Mike Smith? We have a motion by Mr. Wilson, second by Mr. Esri. Mr. Wilson, would you like to read the resolution honoring Mr. Smith, please?
It'd be my pleasure. Resolution number 2024-298, resolution honoring retiring County Board Member Mike Smith. Whereas Mike Smith was sworn in as a Champaign County Board member on October 19, 2023, and whereas Mike Smith has served the citizens of Champaign County as a representative of the Champaign County Board District 1 from October 19, 2023 until November 30th, 2024, and whereas during his tenure as a Champaign County Board member, Mike Smith served on the Committee of the Whole for Justice and Social Services, Finance, Policy, Personnel and Appointments, the Facilities Committee, and the Broadband Task Force from 2023 to 2024. And whereas during his tenure as a Champaign County Board member, Mike Smith also served in a liaison position as the County Board Representative for the Rural Transit Advisory Group from 2023 to 2024, and the Reentry Council in 2024. And whereas the Champaign County Board seeks to publicly recognize the commitment and dedication of Mike Smith, who served the citizens of Champaign County as an appointed official. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the Champaign County Board hereby recognizes the service of Mike Smith and the benefit of that service brought to county government, and be it further resolved that a certified copy of this resolution be presented to Mike Smith in recognition of his service to the citizens of Champaign County. Presented, adopted, approved, and recorded on the 21st day, November AD 2024.
Thank you. All in favor? Oh, is there any discussion? Mr. Wilson.
My discussion is, thank you, Mr. Smith, for being my buddy here next to me. I've known Mike for, I don't know, almost 30 years. 30 years, maybe, I don't know. And we've been together in so many opportunities and capacities, working at the Clinton Power Station together and just other activities. It was a joy to be associated with Mike on the county board. I'm going to miss him dearly, even though it was just a temporary stint. But I know we'll be involved in other activities beyond this. But anyway, thank you again, Mike, for being my buddy here next to me.
All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion regrettably carries. I wish you could stay. All right. Can I get a motion to approve adoption of Resolution 2024-299, honoring retiring County Board member Diane Michaels? Moved by J.J. Farney, second by Ed, second by Ms. Cord, excuse me. Mr. Sexton, would you like to read the resolution honoring Ms. Michaels? All right. J.J., would you please read it?
Thanks. Resolution number 2024-299, a resolution honoring retiring County Board member Diane Michaels. Whereas Diane Michaels was sworn in as a Champaign County Board member on November 19th, 2009, and again on May 21, 2020. And whereas Diane Michaels has served the citizens of Champaign County as a representative of the Champaign County Board District 2 from November 19, 2009 through December 31, 2017, and from May 21, 2020 through November 30, 2024. And whereas during her tenure as a Champaign County Board member, Diane Michaels served on the Policy, Personnel, and Appointments Committee from 2009 to 2010, Justice and Social Services Committee from 2009 to 2010, the Committee of the Whole for Justice and Social Services, Finance, Policy, Personnel, and Appointments from 2010 to 2017, and 2020 to 2024, the Highway and Transportation Committee from 2012 to 2017 and 2020 to 2024, the Litigation Committee from 2016 to 2017 and 2020 to 2024, the Community Violence Prevention Task Force from 2022 to 2024, and the Opioid Settlement Task Force from 2023 to 2024. And whereas during her tenure as a Champaign County Board member, Diane Michaels also served in a liaison position as a county board representative on the Head Start Policy Board from 2010 to 2016, the Regional Office of Education Board from 2010 to 2017 and 2020 to 2024, the Lincoln Legacy Committee in 2012, the Rural Transportation Advisory Group in 2017, the Region 8 Human Service Transportation Plan Policy Committee in 2017, the Veterans Assistance Commission from 2020 to 2022, the Labor Management Health Insurance Committee from 2020 to 2024, and the Regional Planning Commission from 2022 to 2024. And whereas during her tenure as a Champaign County Board member, Diane Michaels also served in a leadership role as the Assistant Deputy Chair of the Finance Committee of the Whole from 2012 to 2016, the Chair of the Litigation Committee in 2015, the Vice Chair of the Litigation Committee from 2016 to 2017, and from 2020 to 2024, the Deputy Chair of the Finance Committee of the Whole in 2017, and the Vice Chair of the Highway and Transportation Committee from 2020 to 2024. And whereas the Champaign County Board seeks to publicly recognize the commitment and dedication of Diane Michaels, who served the citizens of Champaign County as an elected official over a term of 12 and a half years. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the Champaign County Board hereby recognizes the service of Diane Michaels and the benefit that service has brought to the county government. And be it further resolved that a copy of this resolution be presented to Diane Michaels in recognition of her tenure of service to the citizens of Champaign County, presented, adopted, approved by the County Board this 21st day of November, AD 2024.
Any other discussion? Yes, go ahead.
Wow, thank you for your service. That is a real public servant. Thank you. And just enjoy life. Live it to the fullest. Thank you. Right. Because I want to be like y'all when I grow up, okay? Thank you.
All right, all in favor, please signify. I'm sorry. Multiples here. I'm sorry. All right, I've made the mistake once, so Lorraine, I'm sorry, I keep missing over
I want to say
there.
thank you, Diane, for being a friend and a fellow board member. We worked together since 2010, and I'm going to miss you.
Further discussion? Excuse me, Emily.
I'll keep it short. I just wanted to take this opportunity to, I guess, reflect on Diane's service. Since I've joined the board 4 years ago, she has always been somebody that I have sought to emulate. Her comments, her insights always carry great weight by everybody in the room. As long as I've been here, I've always observed that. Aside from being wicked smart, which we all know, every time that we see that hand go up, we know that we will get sage insights and really sharp questions. And so I just really appreciate being able to learn from you.
Jen Locke.
I just want to thank you for being a shining example of bipartisanship, cooperation, collaboration, and professionalism. Thank you for all of that. And you're very funny.
JJ.
I'm going to miss your snacks at caucus meetings. Okay, so I'd like to put some orders in for that right now. I'm going to take the opportunity to, now it's going to be my time to call you in vent instead of me just listening when you call. It's going to be your turn to just listen. But most of all, I'm going to miss the way that you can tell me how everyone in the northern part of the county is related to everyone else.
Go ahead.
Just real quick, this says Diane's 12 and a half years. If that's correct, I guess then I technically already have more tenure on the board. But because I'm over 13, but she's been in the county government more than I have, seeing as how she took the trip through the auditor's department. And just, Diane, you will be missed as well.
All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Thank you, Diane. All right, can I get a motion to approve Resolution 2024-300, honoring retiring County Board Member Leah Taylor? Got a motion by Thorsland, second by Locke. Would Member Straub like to read the resolution?
Actually, I have a request, if that's okay. I love you, Jen, so much. You know that. I went to Croatia with you. We travel well together. But when I realized that Beth wasn't going to be here tonight, and it's usually the partner, right? I was hoping that you could read it, Steve, because you were my caucus chair when I came onto this board. You have been such a good resource to me and such a good mentor, if that's okay.
Well, now you've got me scrambling to find it. You'll do it? Okay, all right. Thank you. Resolution 2024-300, honoring retiring County Board Member Leah Taylor. Whereas Leah Taylor was sworn in as a County Board Member on December 3rd, 2018, and whereas Leah Taylor has served the citizens of Champaign County as a representative of the Champaign County Board District 5 from December 3rd, 2018 until November 20th, 2024. And whereas during her tenure as a county board member, Leah Taylor served on the Facilities Committee from 2018 through 2022, Committee of the Whole for Justice and Social Service, Finance, Policy, Personnel, and Appointments from 2018 to 2024, the Jail Facilities Committee from 2021 to 2022, and the Highway and Transportation Committee from 2022 to 2024. And whereas during her tenure as a county board member, Leah Taylor also served in a liaison position as a county board representative with the Head Start Policy Board from 2018 through 2020, and the Developmental Disabilities Board from 2020 through 2024. And whereas during her tenure as Champaign County Board member, Leah Taylor also served in a leadership role as the deputy chair of the Justice and Social Service Committee of the Whole from 2020 to 2024. And whereas the Champaign County Board seeks to publicly recognize the commitment and dedication of Leah Taylor, who served the citizens of Champaign County as an elected official over a term of 6 years. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the Champaign County Board hereby recognizes the service of Leah Taylor and the benefit that service has brought to the county government. Be it further resolved that a certificated copy of this resolution shall be presented to Leah in recognition of her service to the citizens of Champaign County. Presented, adopted, and approved and recorded this 21st day of November, AD 2024. Thank you so much. Is there any further discussion? Ms. Lokshin.
I just wanted to say I appreciate how genuine and kind you have been on my time on the board. You're somebody who always reaches out as caucus chair and just as a board member to make sure that new members know what's happening, offer your guidance, and help us figure out what the heck we're doing here on the Champaign County Board. So thank you. I look forward to continuing our friendship and you not having to deal with the board.
Eric.
Thank you, Leah, for being a wonderful caucus chair, very organized, very efficient, always on time, something that I appreciate more than a lot of people sometimes do. And in the 6 years I've been on the board, you've always been the name called before mine so that I remember that I have to pay attention to roll call. So, and I truly appreciate that as a completely scatterbrained person. So thank you, Leah.
Chris.
Thank you. We've served on the board for quite a while. I appreciate that you brought home-baked cakes, cookies. Some of them are just beautifully decorated. And that made coming to caucus all the nicer. And you remembered to send gifts at various times for different occasions. And that good leadership, good example. Thank you.
Emily.
Whether she knows it or not, and whether she really agrees to or not, I've really grown to view you as a mentor, and so I just really appreciate all of your guidance and advice, and especially your work on the county board. I often refer to or compare us to a circus, and I believe you are a lion tamer in the circus. So thank you so much.
Seeing no further hands, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion passes. Thank you, Leah. All right, can I get a motion to approve adoption of resolution number 2024-301, honoring retiring county board member Don Owen? Got a motion from Thorsland, second from Lokshin. Mr. Thorsland, would you please read the resolution honoring Mr. Owen?
I would love to. Resolution number 2024-301, resolution honoring retiring county board member Don Owen. Whereas Don Owen was sworn in as a Champaign County board member on February 22nd, 2024, and whereas Don Owen has served the citizens of Champaign County as a representative of Champaign County Board District 7 from February 22, 2024 until November, make sure that typo gets fixed, until November 30th, 2024, and whereas during the tenure as a Champaign County board member, Don Owen served on the Committee of the Whole for Justice and Social Services, Finance, Policy, Personnel and Appointments, the Environment Land Use Committee, the Labor Committee, the DEIA Plus Task Force, and whereas the Champaign County Board seeks to publicly recognize the commitment and dedication of Don Owen, who served the citizens of Champaign County as an appointed official, now therefore be it resolved that the Champaign County Board hereby recognizes the service of Don Owen and the benefit that service brought to the county government, and be it further resolved that a certified copy of this resolution be presented to Don Owen in recognition of his service to the citizens of Champaign County, presented, adopted, approved, and recorded this 21st day of November, AD 2024.
Any further discussion? Well, I have something to say. Not only did I have the privilege of serving for this short period of time with Don, I got to work with Don for my 16 years of service for the Urbana School District. I knew when Don arrived that we would be getting a solid board member, excuse me. And we did. I regret that your personal circumstances keep you from staying on, and you will truly be missed. I will, excuse me. I will, however, continue to rely on you as a resource. I appreciate that you've extended that to me. So, thank you. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Thank you, Don, for serving. I've seen you throughout this community for many, many years. Are you solid? Yes, 100%. And I would definitely be missing you on this board. Enjoy life to the fullest. Thank you so very much for your service in this community.
All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Thank you. All right, finally, last but not least by any means, adoption of resolution number 2024-302 honoring retiring county board member Jennifer Straub. Can I have a motion by Locke, second by Locke Shen? Yep. Ms. Locke, would you please read the resolution honoring
Yes.
Ms. Straub?
Last in number, first in my heart. Resolution honoring retiring county board member Jennifer Straub. Whereas Jennifer Straub was sworn in as a Champaign County board member on December 7th, 2020, and whereas Jennifer Straub has served the citizens of Champaign County as a representative of the Champaign County Board District 9 from December 7th, 2020 until November 30th, 2024. And whereas during her tenure as the Champaign County Board member, Jennifer Straub served on the Highway and Transportation Committee from 2020 to 2024, the Committee of the Whole for Justice and Social Services, Finance, Policy, Personnel, and Appointments from 2020 to 2024, and the Opioid Settlement Task Force from 2023 to 2024. And whereas during her tenure as a Champaign County Board member, Jennifer Straub also served in a liaison position as a Champaign Board, or as a County Board representative with the Head Start Policy Board from 2020 to 2022 and the Mental Health Board from 2023-2024. And whereas the Champaign County Board seeks to publicly recognize the commitment and dedication of Jennifer Straub, who served the citizens of Champaign County as an elected official over a term of 4 years. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the Champaign County Board hereby recognizes the service of Jennifer Straub and the benefit that service brought to county government. And be it further resolved that a certified copy of this resolution be presented to Jennifer Straub in recognition of her service to the citizens of Champaign County. Presented, adopted, approved, and recognized and recorded this 21st day of November, 2024.
Any discussion? Ms. Taylor?
Just a couple things. I just wanted to say that, first off, I really appreciate all of the hard work that you've done being my minute taker during caucus time. Like, I know I'm a little crazy with those, but I really appreciate your accuracy and your dedication to doing that, and you are very fast in getting me the minutes. I also just wanted to express that knowing you on this board through this capacity has been such a benefit to me, because I understand, and you just advocate always for our unhoused citizens, and that has deepened my understanding and my thought processes as far as, you know, just the whole population, seeing more of a bigger picture. And I can't talk without notes, which we all know by now. So thank you, Jen.
Ms. Locke?
You tricked me. On the community is better because you're in it. Cunningham Township is benefited by you every day. The students of the PTA, where you are now president, benefit because you are there. And I regret that we'll lose you here, but the community will still be well served by you. I will remind people to present water when it gets hot and coats when it gets cold. And I'm always here for you to nag me further to remind people of these things.
Any further comments? Go ahead, Ms. Locke.
I don't know if I can without getting emotional.
Oh, there's a lot of that going around.
As I've known you for years before this, and I'm sure I'll know you for years after. So thank you for being a hand raiser and a dragger in to get others involved. I appreciate you.
Dr. Storer?
it means a lot when you can call somebody on an emergency when a colleague, a friend, calls you and says, I've been thrown out of the house. I need housing right this minute. And there's somebody I can call, I called, and who helped me get housing. It opened my eyes to a number of things, and between you and Kyle, I've learned so very, very much. And I thank you for your service and appreciate your friendship, and I wish you success in the good work that you're doing and with your family.
Further discussion? Seeing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Thank you. All right, status update on our fiscal year 2023 audit. There's a memo on your table from RPC regarding some financial concerns. Auditor Danos, would you care to share an update on the status of the audit, please?
Yes, please. Good evening. I obligated myself to answer questions that Stephanie Furtado posed yesterday, or our last meeting 9 days ago, so I'm here. I think it will be relatively short and factual. I'm not addressing the RPC memo. I did have a very amicable discussion about its information with Ryan, who's not the author, but did provide much of the data. I'm here to discuss what we can expect with 90% certainty, I'm told by the external auditor, on December 19th. I will be here with Hope Wheeler to discuss the audit results. Of course, they're expected to be unqualified or clean. The specific questions by Finance Chair Furtado were whether there would be consequences because we went beyond the 60 days. The correspondence I have from the sole cognizant agency which would do so indicates they might. It's never happened yet to the county, so we are prepared for a line of credit to be extended by the county to RPC if need be. The amounts were similar to what I'd estimated when Jeff asked. I think the administrative cost for 1 month of LIHEAP, which is quite large for weatherization, is $130,000. If they were to borrow $250,000 with payback occurring about 15 days later, the amount of time that would elapse between December 2nd, which is a Monday, and the submission of the audit, the interest cost would be less than $50. But it does streamline the accounting. So I have no objection to going about things in that way. I would like to end on a note of some levity. After all this heartwarming goodbyes, I was tickled that JJ mentioned The Love of Genealogy by Diane Michaels, and I'm not from northern Champaign County, but we have very good reason to think that we are mildly or distantly related. So I hope that she does do the DNA test in her retirement. Thank you.
Are there any questions? Dr. Storr.
Thank you for coming and giving us this update in person, and I look forward to seeing the annual comprehensive financial report completed and put to rest, and hope that we can meet the schedule next year.
Thank you.
Mr. Thorsland.
Since you're here, what I really want to ask, I think everyone wants to know, is what actions are you taking now to make next year's audit on time?
Well, in the last week, I staffed 1/3 of my office, and I think that's an important step toward having an audit as timely as last year's. This year, and I don't want to get into details because I do have reason to think that the alienation of certain key staff was the responsibility of people in this room. and that caused the delay. I'm taking constructive measures to make sure we get back on track as we were for 2 years consecutively prior to this year.
Ms. Lockshin.
I'm sorry, could you elaborate on that? I'm not sure.
I don't want to.
I don't understand how it's the fault of the board that the audit was late.
Call me. You're my board member, Ms. Lockshin, and you live down, almost down the street from me, and I will discuss that. I hope you are open to hearing what I could say, then I will not do it now.
Okay.
Jamala.
Okay, so you have 1/3 of the staff.
Well, I'm not staff, but my whole office is 6, and I hired a chief deputy auditor Monday.
Okay.
And then Wednesday, I also had start an accountant who is to shadow and replace someone that is now going to work for the county executive.
Okay, so how many people, are you fully staffed now?
I am, although there are some hoops to go through in making someone fully onboarded, yes.
Okay, so if you remain fully staffed, you don't anticipate any delays in the audit next year, is what you're saying, correct?
That's correct.
Okay.
I should say, if I may, Jamal.
Yeah.
I am very happy that you passed the measure to address the budget in December rather than now. I have detected anomalies. I maintain I'm under-resourced. And one thing I do want to have is enough money to have Orion, whom you esteem greatly, to help train, at her request, my new chief deputy auditor from time to time.
Okay, so then there are no other hiccups other than maybe what we'll address in the budget meeting next month that you think will cause delay to the audit, right?
Yeah, you're referring to you're talking about the one that we're awaiting?
No,
Or
I'm
next
just saying
year's?
for next year.
No, I don't anticipate any, but you know what? Life throws curves, I'll let you know if there are. But no, I don't have any such anticipation. What is that crosstalk?
Okay, I just wanted to make sure, because I understand that there might have been drama that I don't know about or actually care about. I just want to make sure that the audit gets done on time and that there are no delays next year. So if it truly, in your opinion, was a staff issue,
Yes.
then we shouldn't have any issues next year. And I just want to make sure that that's the cause for the delay, in your opinion.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah.
JJ.
In regards to next year's audit, when will Clifton be starting? It's hard to believe, we're almost in December. Are they gonna start field work on their normal timeline? Do you know, have you talked about that yet with them?
That was addressed in the memo, that's always a possibility. The only time in my tenure we had a delay of field work was during that aberrant COVID year. So the 2019 audit was significantly late in 2021. Of course, they have so many clients that also had all these overlapping timetables. I don't have, Orion is himself from external audit. He had actually worked for CLA 2 jobs before coming on board as my chief deputy. He'll have a clearer picture on that. I think that getting things out by December could allow us to be timely with field work. He likes to have it really early, like in December. But I think that field work that begins in February would still be adequate to having a timely audit for 2024.
And with your new chief deputy coming on, you think closing the books right early in January is gonna be fairly smooth to get into that as well?
I hope so.
Yeah, I hope so too for you as
Thank
well,
you.
because that's a huge undertaking. And my last question is back to Clifton. Have they talked to you at all if there's going to be additional charges for this year's audit?
I did ask her.
Okay.
Her estimate would, I don't want to quote an estimate because I might negotiate it down. It's in the tens of thousands of dollars, and it is less than the amount I'm returning to the general fund because of the departure mid-year of my chief deputy, so I'll still be under budget, even if it came out of my budget. So there's some that's, it's not out of scope, it's because of certain work and rework that you don't expect with a totally smooth audit.
Ms. Carter.
What about the bank reconciliations?
My new chief deputy auditor, Orion, and I talked about bank reconciliations. It is Orion's opinion that they should stay in the treasurer's office because a person who does those bank reconciliations has to be fairly familiar and handy with the general ledger. So even though for many years it had come out of the treasurer's office, it was because of a key long-term treasurer got used to it and developed expertise, but it's not something you expect. So we'd like to retain it in the auditor's office. I think the chief deputy auditor can absorb that function in the midst of all her assignments. If I find that to be difficult because of all the other onboarding that she does, then I will take that duty on myself. But we expect it to remain in the auditor's office. Thanks.
Just one more question. So do you think that would ever be a duty that could be shared with the treasurer's office and the auditor's office again?
One of the things that the memo addresses, it's not only about me, of course, you see that. It was addressed to three countywide officials, Steve Summers, Cassandra Johnson, and myself, because everyone has a hand in the financial operations and procedures of the county. The collector has her own reconciliations. The county's money is distinct from the money that is collected by the county collector, which is also our treasurer, that then gets distributed to the various entities like the school districts, the drainage districts. Is very complicated, I'm told, and that the other hand's full is what I'm saying, and that's something I can't touch. So that's another good reason to keep these reconciliations distinct.
Go ahead, Jeff.
Thank you. So I have two comments, one for you, George, and then the second one for the acting or the financing chair or vice chair. Number one, even top performing organizations come up with lessons learned from their year of service and things that they want to improve in going forward. And sometimes the result of that year's work shows whether an organization is top performing or not top performing. So I would think from the county's perspective, the lateness of the audit would indicate from a results perspective that your organization was not a top performing organization inside the county for 2023. So that being the case, besides staffing, I like to work in threes. Threes just seems to be a magic number. So you came up with one item. What other two items would you change or improve to guarantee or do the best you can to make sure that the audit for the next fiscal year gets done on time?
I mean, I can think of just my own adherence to my own schedule and work harder and better. But I will say this. I did make it clear to my staff that I would appoint a chief deputy from outside the organization. That is one of the supervisory lessons I learned was the difficulties of doing that. I think that in at least a small group like my own, it's fraught with some difficulties. And I rectified that. I did hire somebody from outside the group to be chief deputy rather than promote from within. I don't think I have another lesson that has the same gravity to fit your schema of tripartite advice.
Thank you for your response.
Thank you.
Really don't find it acceptable, but thank you for your response. I think there's more than just personnel. So
I didn't say it was. I didn't say that.
So I would recommend that you maybe reflect as a new elected auditor on things you could do in your organization to not rock the boat with respect to the county and make sure your audit gets done on time. That would be my comment to you, so thank you.
Okay, Jeff, drop by anytime. We can discuss it later in better detail as well.
Now my second question, which is not to you, it's to Mr. Farney. So Mr. Farney, the auditor said he would not respond to this memo, but from RPC on key financial and operational concerns as year-end approaches, I would recommend one or two things. One, that this memo be read and placed into the meeting minutes Or if its time is so long that we can't read a 2-page memo or 4-page memo, that it at least in its entirety be placed in our meeting minutes for our county board.
I'm thinking of procedure-wise, how we would do that.
It's on the website already,
It's on the website.
like
but
with
is
the
it-
agenda packet
but
and the
it's
full
not in the
agenda.
minutes. It's not in the minutes. Mr. Wilson's asking that this be
Oh, I
memorialized
see.
into the minutes.
I thought it being memorialized as part of our handouts on the website kind of does the same thing.
It won't
Not
be in the minutes
not
if we
in the
do that.
minutes, they're not. Can we ask the clerk to include this memo in the actual minutes when they are compiled and put on the website? Then I think that would solve what we're asking for.
Thank you.
I have a question for you, Auditor Danos. With the significantly increased salary for your chief deputy and the increased salary you're offering for your new accountant, your personnel budget exceeds your personnel line in the tentative 2025 budget. How do you plan on making up that shortfall?
Your microphone.
Yeah, Steve, I made it clear in caucus, and that I did that on purpose to try to reduce the level of confrontation. But your numbers are wrong. They're misstated, and I don't know if it was deliberate misrepresentation. But the document that was on my R drive and the amount there would be adequate to do both of those pay increases. They are totally justified pay increases, and I don't know how you reduced me by 3% when really basically all salary lines should be increased by about 4% in this county. So I'm going to have discussions with JJ and Stephanie and you, and I'm coming to the Finance Committee agenda meeting so we can talk details, and I'll bring documents.
Just to point out, I don't set the budget. This board sets the budget.
That's fine. I'm not blaming you. You asked me a question.
Michelle.
Yeah, I just wanted to offer a point of clarification on the reconciliation. The county executive's office has been working with the treasurer's office to hire a temporary person to focus solely on the reconciliations, which have not been completed since 2023.
Which ones are you referring to, collector or county?
County.
That's not true.
Okay, well, difference of opinion. So she's supposed to start in mid-December, and our most urgent goal is that she is caught up on 2024 in a way that does not delay the audit. So.
Any further questions for our auditor? Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, moving on. There's an update from our grant coordinator in your agenda packet. The decennial committee reports for Champaign County Forest Preserve District, Joint Urbana Township and Urbana Township Road District, Rantoul Park District, and Urbana Park District are all available on the county website. The semi-annual closed session minutes review is up next. They've been circulated in the room. Vice Chair Locke, would you make an omnibus motion for the annual, excuse me, Ms. Straub then?
She's throwing you a lot of loops today. I move to follow the state attorney's recommendation for all closed session minutes of the county board, county administrator search committee, and the nursing home board of directors to remain closed. I move to follow the state's attorney's recommendation for all closed session, is this how I'm supposed to do this? Just the omnibus. That's it?
Yep.
Okay.
So moved. Motion by Diane, second by, motion by Jen, second by Diane. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion passes. As there's no further business, this meeting is in recess.